lovely people. Welcome to this week's episode of Conversations with Niss. I'm Eunice Peterson, your gracious host. This week, I'm speaking to you on something I've been thinking about for a while. And I honestly do not know where people get this thing from, but it's about entitlement. I'm sure you have come across somebody who felt they deserved something simply because they said so. You know, it amazes me how people just walk through life thinking, because I exist, I deserve so and so or so and so. That's what I want to talk about today. It's the fact that people think that others owe them something just because. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't deserve good things. Far from it. Everybody in this life deserves good things. The issue is, why do you think another person is responsible for that good thing happening to you? That is the problem I have with entitled people. The fact that they think other people owe them things. Nobody owes you anything, really. Everybody lives life responsible for themselves. We, as adults, we are all expected to be mature, responsible human beings who take up responsibility, especially for yourself. If you refuse to take responsibility for your own life, why do you expect someone else to take that responsibility for you? And therein lies my problem with entitled people. But you see, this entitlement thing, it does a lot of harm. A lot of harm. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about you. In as much as you may be getting what you want, you overlook the fact that life is not just about you and other people are involved. At the center of entitlement is a degree of selfishness. The idea that you should be the center of everyone's wealth and every other person owes you something and you owe yourself nothing. To talk more of owing somebody something. One, the problem is you are deceiving yourself. The earlier you wake up from this dream, the better. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that you would end up in a rude awakening when you get to a point where you cannot use this your entitlement attitude to get things. Because believe it or not, there are people like me who are entitlement proof. You will meet them along the line and you are going to have a rude awakening that, hey, after all, nobody owes me anything and I have to do stuff myself. It is good to ask for help where you need it, but not to shove everything on someone else and say, hey, you do it because, of course, I'm passenger princess. We don't do anything here. Everybody else does everything for us. Anyway, that's on a light note. But on a more serious note, walking through life with an entitlement mindset, you are going to get to a point where you realize this attitude can get you everywhere because there are people who are going to resist you, whether you believe it or not. People are going to resist you in this entitlement space that you have put yourself in. It is better that you acknowledge that there's a bit of selfishness here. Why am I doing this thing? Perhaps you have gotten your way through life receiving things easily. Perhaps you are a very favored person and you are taking advantage of that favor and feeling entitled. You feel people need to do things for you simply because with past experiences, people have simply tended to favor you. Favor is not a bad thing, but where you turn that previous experience of people favoring you into a compulsory matter of people must favor you, that's a problem. If in the past, people haven't really challenged you where you asked for things or where you sought to have your way, perhaps you should be looking at that as a source of this entitlement that you have. Maybe you were also surrounded by entitled people, and so that is the only thing that has been modeled to you. It's not your fault, but once you identify it, it becomes your responsibility to overcome it. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you were the baby of the house, maybe, and people just felt, no, don't do anything, we're going to do everything. And from that standpoint, you have always felt people simply will do things for you. You have come to expect it rather than a deliberate attempt to say, I want everybody to do everything for me. But in your setting of growing up, you never really found the need to do things for yourself because somebody was always there to do something for you. That could also be a source of this entitlement. It could also be that you've never had the need to exercise your resilience muscle. You probably haven't faced certain tough decisions or challenges because, believe it or not, challenges, tough situations teach you to stand for yourself and advocate for yourself, essentially. So that is also a source of entitlement, that perhaps you've never really faced any serious challenge that requires you to stand up for yourself, that requires you to do things for yourself. I need you to understand that entitlement is not just self-centeredness. It could potentially also be a narcissistic trait. And it is also a sign of immaturity. It shows a lot that you are not a mature person. So think about it. Do you view yourself as a mature person? Then perhaps you should take another look. And if you find entitlement somewhere, you really should begin to look at it. Now, what are some of the potential issues that entitlement can create? One of the things it does is it creates an issue in your relationships because people begin to realize once they get close to you or encounter you that you are an entitled person. You feel you deserve things even though you have not put any effort into getting that thing. It would definitely be a problem in relationships, in friendships, in romantic relationships, even in business associations and professional settings. It will create a problem for you. If you are self-centered, immature, and have narcissist traits, you are definitely bound to have issues with people. So I feel that is one of the biggest challenges with entitlement, the fact that you are unable to build proper, stable relationships because people see you for who you are and they begin to back off or begin to reconsider how the relationship is going to be moving forward. So perhaps if your relationships are not working, take a step back and look at your life, evaluate yourself. Are there tendencies in those relationships of entitlement? Did you feel your partner had to do things for you simply because they were your partner? Those are traits of entitlement. So that for me is one of the biggest issues with entitlement. The second thing is once people get to understand how you move and realize that you're an entitled person, they begin to push back. And that pushback inevitably leads to disappointment for you. So at the end of the day, you're not just hurting other people, hurting your relationships, you're also hurting yourself because you end up in a spiral of disappointment because you were expecting that person to do this thing for you and they said no. They blatantly refused you and now you feel hurt, you feel disappointed, and something that it can lead to is depression because you are in this bubble where you feel you are right, you are entitled to whatever it is that you are asking for, and this person is refusing you, and inevitably you end up in a depressed state because obviously you're not getting what you want. And it is not with one person, it is with just about everybody in your life or with every situation that you find yourself in particular moments. You are not getting what you want because you have encountered somebody who is entitlement proof and is saying, I'm not going to do this for you. And inevitably, you're hurt, you're disappointed, you feel the person is out to get you, when in reality, it's not really about them being out to get you. They are just being normal, reasonable human beings and saying, no, I'm not going to do this for you. You need to take responsibility of that thing. It's on you. Right. So at the end of the day, you're not just hurting your relationships and the people around you, you're hurting yourself. So is it really worth it? It might work for a while, but in the long run, is it helpful? Your guess is as good as mine. No, It's not. And that brings me to what we can do to overcome this sense of entitlement. The first thing will be practice humility. Clear? Because to an extent, entitlement also comes from being prideful and thinking that you're better than other people. And so they have to be at your beck and call. So catching yourself and learning to move with humility will be an essential step in ensuring that you come out of this entitlement mindset. Because with humility, are acknowledging that other people are as important as you are. You don't have to use them to get your way. You respect them for who they are and you honor them as human beings. And so having that mindset builds humility in you and it helps you to come out of this entitlement mindset. The other thing which is very important is being ready to take responsibility for your own life because you know that nobody is going to do it for you. You are responsible for your own life. And so you are going to do everything to ensure that you succeed, that the things that need doing in your life actually get done. So really, coming out of entitlement is taking responsibility for your life. I feel that is at the heart of coming out of entitlement because if you realize that nobody is responsible for your life but you wouldn't be over reliant on people doing things for you or trying to get your way with people, but you would have a sense of ownership when it comes to doing things and you would want to go out and do those things for yourself. At the end of the day, it's your life. So why do you want to outsource living if that is even possible? How can you outsource living? So having an intentional approach to taking responsibility will also help you to come out of this entitlement phase. Also be very empathetic. See things from the point of view of other people. When you're trying to get somebody to do something for you, ask yourself, what is it going to cost this person to do what I am asking them to do? If we are empathetic, then we would not be thinking just about us. We are taking self-centeredness out and we are seeing things from the perspective of others. So we will not push people to do things simply because we want to get those things done, but we would appreciate them for who they are and see things from their point of view and say, yes, this person is in a position to do this thing for me, or no, I don't think they're in a right place to do this thing that I'm asking of them to do. So being empathetic towards people also helps with breaking this mindset of entitlement. Ultimately, for me, is the appreciation that nobody owes you anything in life. Nobody has to do anything for you per se. Of course, as a child growing up, your parents or guardians have responsibility for you. But as you grow and mature and become an adult, life is essentially on you. You can't outsource it. And so coming into the mindset of taking responsibility for yourself and overcoming the idea that people owe you simply by your existence is the sure way to breaking entitlement. I'm curious, do you know of any entitled people in your life and how do you manage such people? I would really like to hear your thoughts on that. Feel free to put it in the comment section. If you struggle with entitlement yourself or have struggled with it in the past, what did you do or what are you doing now to overcome this mindset of entitlement? That is all for me this week. I honestly hope that you found a lot of value in it. Thank you for joining me. And as always, go out there, walk on water, and do great things. I'll catch you same time next week right here on Conversations with Niss. Bye.